How you doing? My name is Dr. Sami Baya. Please welcome back to my YouTube channel. They tried to trap you, but they fell into their own pit. That's the title of this video. There are moments in life when people plot and scheme, thinking they can control the narrative, manipulate others, and secure their own gain at the expense of someone else. They believe their cunning will always win, that their carefully laid traps will succeed. But what they don't realize is that sometimes the very web they weave for others become their own snare. You are a target, a person they thought could be easily manipulated or deceived. Perhaps they saw you as weak or vulnerable, someone who could be used as a pawn in their grand design. They calculated every move, anticipating your every reaction, believing they could predict your behavior. They laid out their plans, crafting deceitful stories and building invisible walls around you. They thought you would fall for the illusion, trapped in their false narratives and their constructed reality. But little did they know, you are watching, learning, and growing stronger with each move they made. At first, their tactics seemed flawless. They sowed seeds of doubt in your mind, turning friends into enemies and friends into strangers. They whispered lies in your ear, feeding you false promises that would lead to your downfall. They thought you would fold under the weight of their pressure, that you'd crumble when faced with their attacks. But their perception of you was deeply flawed. They failed to see the strength within you, the resilience you had cultivated over time. They underestimated your ability to see through their deceit and manipulate their own manipulations against them. One by one, their lies began to unravel. Their schemes fell apart like a house of cards. The carefully constructed facade they had built to entrap you was no longer standing. The lies they told were exposed, and the more they tried to cover their tracks, the deeper they dug themselves into a hole. They were so focused on trapping you that they didn't see the signs that you were already stepping out of their web. They failed to realize that you had begun to see the cracks in their facade, that you are no longer the pawn they thought you were. The more they pushed, the more you pulled back. The more they tried to control you, the more you broke free from their grasp. And with every misstep they made, every lie they told, they sealed their own fate, unknowingly digging a pit for themselves that would eventually swallow them whole. You didn't need to do anything. They made all the mistakes themselves. Their arrogance blinded them to the fact that they were losing control. The very tactics they used to isolate you were the ones that ultimately led to their own downfall. As their plans crumbled, their desperation grew. They tried to shift the blame onto others, hoping to cover up the tracks they had left behind. But the truth was undeniable, and no matter how hard they tried to manipulate the narrative, they were caught in the web of their own making. It was like watching a child desperately try to cover up their mistakes, only to make things worse with every attempt. They were trapped by their own ego, by their need for control. The more they tried to control the situation, the tighter the noose became around their own necks. You stood tall, unwavering in the face of their attacks. You knew that they had underestimated you. What they didn't understand was that you weren't just a victim of their schemes. You were the observer, the one who could see beyond their tricks. While they were busy plotting, you were quietly gathering evidence, noticing the contradictions in their words and observing the cracks in their armor. You knew that their downfall was inevitable. It was only a matter of time before their lies caught up with them. And when the moment finally came, it was as if everything had been building towards this single point. Their own pit had been dug, and now they were falling in. The very thing they had tried to do to you became their undoing. It was poetic in its own way. They tried to bury you, but instead they buried themselves. They tried to shut you down, only to realize that their actions had left them exposed. Their web of deceit became their own prison, and there was no way out. You didn't need to raise a finger. Their mistakes were too numerous to ignore. The lies they had told, the manipulation they had engaged in, it all came to light. They had made their own bed, and now they had to lie in it. People began to see them for what they truly were: manipulators, deceivers, and liars. The trust they had once built was now shattered. Their reputation was in ruins, all because they thought they could outsmart you. In the end, they became the ones who were trapped. The irony was that while they were so focused on breaking you, they didn't realize they were slowly breaking themselves. The obsession with control had consumed them, leaving them with nothing but regret and a future filled with consequences. You were the silent observer in the game, and now you are the victor. Not because you sought revenge, but because you had the strength and clarity to see through their manipulations. Your quiet resilience was your greatest weapon. In the end, their downfall wasn't a result of your actions. It was a consequence of their own choices. They fell into their own pit, one they had dug with their deceitful hands. The weight of their lies was too heavy to carry, and now they had to face the consequences of their actions. The world saw the truth for what it was, and their false image crumbled. Those who once followed them now turned away. The power they thought they had was gone, and they were left with nothing but the bitter taste of defeat. It was a victory, but not one born of malice. There was no need for celebration, no need for gloating. The justice was in the truth, and the truth was that their own lies had led to their undoing. As time passed, they would reflect on their actions, realizing too late that they had played themselves. The pit they had tried to create for you was the very one they fell into, and there was no escape. You moved on, unscathed and wiser for the experience. You had learned that sometimes the best way to overcome manipulation and deceit is not to fight back directly, but to let the truth unfold on its own. In the end, they tried to trap you, but they fell into their own pit. Their own actions, driven by greed and a hunger for control, became the cause of their demise. And you walked away free and victorious without lifting a finger. The defeat was their own doing. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked this video. If you found it helpful, please spare a second and click that like button. Also, drop your comment, share your feedback, share your thoughts in the comment section of this video. Don't forget to also share the video widely with all those who you think may need it. Okay? And above all, if you've not subscribed to this YouTube channel, spare a second or two and smash that subscribe button. Make sure the notification bell is on. That way, every time I upload a new video, you get notified about it. Thank you. Catch you later in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.